Hey everybody, Motorport59 here. Been a long time. I haven't done anything on this channel in a few months. I've been busy towards the end of 2023 and just taking a break in January. 2023 was an extremely hectic year for me. It was very stressful. I had a lot of things going on that I had to deal with that made it a very unhappy year for me. I was very unhappy in 2023. And the issues that I was dealing with then, most of them have been dealt with and are behind me. And hopefully this year won't have anything pop up that's going to create such a hectic year as last year was. The reason that I'm doing a video now is because yesterday I went and had my taxes done. And I have never had a problem with paying my fair share of taxes. I just don't believe that my fair share or anyone else's fair share should be more than 10%. We could tax the rich at whatever tax rate we wanted to. We could tax them at 95% and it wouldn't change the budget deficit and it wouldn't change the national debt. It would make absolutely no difference in our economy. And that's just a fact. If we taxed everyone at 10%, and this is something that Stephen Forbes put forth in the 80s, and it's been kicked around. It's never going to happen because the government's never going to get rid of the IRS. That's just too big of a. It's an institution now. It's not really a department anymore. It's an institution, and they're not going to get rid of it. But a 10% flat tax would eliminate the IRS. We wouldn't even need to have them anymore. We wouldn't need, I don't know, maybe we'd need 1,000 people in it or something just to keep the books. But a 10% flat tax actually would help a lot more than my cat. But that would help a lot more than taxing the rich at a super high rate and giving everybody below a certain income more money than they paid in, if they paid anything at all. And you hear people saying, well, the rich don't pay anything. Yes, they do. They absolutely do. Businesses are different. The way businesses are taxed, and people say, oh, they have all these loopholes. There's no such thing as a loophole. There's law. Tax law says this, you can do this, and you can't do that. And they operate within those. They don't do anything tricky. And and I've said this before, if you're a private citizen paying taxes and you don't use everything in the tax law where you are concerned to lessen your tax burden and to get the biggest bang for your buck in your returns, then you're an idiot. There is absolutely no reason for you not to go have your taxes done. Like me, I have a lot of other things going on. If all I had going on was my pension income, I would not go have my taxes done. I probably wouldn't even file anymore. I know a lot of people that have just stopped filing that retired, and they just don't worry about it. And none of them have had anything come of it, especially people on Social Security. But in any case, I wouldn't go have my taxes done. If I decided to do it, I would just do them myself, use TurboTax or something, because it would be simple. But I've got different things going on. I have investments. I have my YouTube channel that makes money, not very much, but it still has to be claimed. And so I have him do my taxes, and I have a lot of itemized stuff that surrounds my other YouTube channel and a lot of other things. But I use everything. That's why I go to a good, reputable tax guy. Everything I do is above board. I have receipts for everything that I do and proof of mileage and all that stuff. So it's all above board. But I use every single thing I can use according to what I can use in the tax law. And you should be doing that too. But anyway, what I got to thinking about yesterday is that I wonder how many millions of Americans every year go through an incredibly stressful time as they approach tax deadlines. I never wait till the deadline. I try to get it done as soon as I get all my W-2s in. I don't even have to wait for this year. I didn't have to wait for all of them because my investments in the market this year earned me absolutely nothing. I actually lost money in the market this year, and I sold nothing that actually earned any money. Thank you, Biden administration, and your incredibly horrible, horrible economy. I took a beating this year, but that's another video. But anyway, even I haven't had to pay anything in quite a few years, probably at least 10 years, probably longer than that I've actually had to take money out of my pocket to pay the IRS. And in that case, it wasn't the IRS. I haven't had to give money to the federal tax in decades, but I almost always ended up having to pay state tax. I haven't had, this year it was $0. Last year I had to pay the state $31, but I got a big refund from federal. I got the exact same, within a few dollars, the exact same refund this year from federal. And I knew I was going to be okay, but still, leading up to that, it's like, oh my gosh, did I do this? Did I do that? Am I going to have to do this? Have the tax structures changed? And it's just a crime that so many Americans are stressed. Because I know if I am, I know a lot of other people who are. And I know people who got in trouble in the past for not, they were so stressed, they just didn't do it. They just didn't file because they knew they were going to owe a couple $1,000s. And when it was all said and done, they ended up in penalties and interest and all that, owing a lot of money. And I don't suggest doing that. As bad as you think it might be, you should still file, because if you file, not filing is where you pile up fines and penalties. If you file and you owe that, there's at federal and state, I know you can make payment plans. You can do it online. All you got to do is, it's really simple. And the last couple of times that I had to pay the state back any bigger amount, which was when I was still working, I would do that, unless it was just a few $100 that I could just come up with. But if it was more than that, they don't charge you interest. So my thing was, heck with that. I'll just pay them $60 a month or $100 a month or whatever I was going to pay them. And you can do that too. But I think it's criminal that the IRS has that kind of hold over Americans who are just trying to make a living. People who are wealthy and their businesses and whatnot, they can afford those taxes, but they probably still stress about it. Not like you and I do. For us, it's different because we're going to have to go take money out of our bank accounts and pay this stuff if that's the way it turns out. And a lot of people worry about that. And that is why I suggest always taking complete advantage of tax law and not just going to TurboTax and trying to figure it out yourself, because there may be things, the expenses you have that you're not taking into account, property taxes, homeowners insurance, many things that you can write off. Start a business like I did with my YouTube channel. It's not a big business. It's just me. It doesn't have to be an LLC or whatever. It's just me. I have no employees or anything, but it's a legitimate business, and I have a business license, and it surrounds this. I sponsored a golf team in a tournament last year, and I'm going to do that again this year. And things that I buy for advertising, marketing, things like that you can do, that you can write off, mileage, going to do whatever you're doing. There's a lot of things you can do to lessen your tax burden. Take advantage of it. They're not loopholes. You're not going to get in trouble for this stuff as long as you have receipts. The IRS or the state may come back at some point. They've never done it with me, but they may come back and say, hey, what about this? And as long as you have the receipts, there's nothing they can say about it. They may not, I don't know. I've never been audited, and maybe they won't like it. Who knows? Maybe their agents themselves don't even care, as long as you can prove what you have claimed. But anyway, the whole tax thing, It's just terrible. It's a terrible thing that we have to go through when it would be so much easier to just have a 10% flat tax that everyone paid. People who are on welfare, instead of them having to pay a tax at the end of the year, that just comes out of their check. And everybody else could do that too. Your taxes just come right out of your check. And it's what they do with us with federal and state taxes. They take that out of your check all year, and at the end of the year, you just hope you've paid in enough. And everybody pays their part, because if you're someone who's on welfare, you don't deserve, you're using federal money. You don't deserve to get all of it. You should have to pay some of that back, because if you're expecting a 100% handout, you're expecting too much. You're going to get it now, the way things are set up now, but I believe that everybody who has any kind of an income should pay 10%. Unless, like now, I don't know what it is now. Back when I was younger and not making a lot of money, you had to make, I think, $4,000 a year back then. It may be more than that now, to even have to file. Or I get it, if you're or if you're a minor, you shouldn't have to pay taxes, in my opinion. I don't care how much money you make. If you're not 18, you shouldn't have to pay taxes. You can't do a lot of things until you're 18. You can't vote. You can't buy cigarettes if you smoke. There's a lot of things you can't do as a minor. You shouldn't have to pay taxes either. So anyway, that's my opinion. What do you think? What do you think about taxes? Do you get stressed as tax time approaches? Do you get stressed out, or do you just do it and not worry about it? I'd be interested in knowing. All right. Well, appreciate you watching. Listen to me rant again. Keep shooting me some ideas. Drop in the comments below. Shoot me an email at motopoet59@gmail.com. Like, share, subscribe. Click on the bell if you want to be notified of future content, and we'll see you all in my next rant.